Hello, my lost sinners and saints. Hope everybody's doing well today. This is going to be a story on Brianna Lopez. This is a story that I can honestly say has bothered me more than any story I have ever covered. There will be multiple trigger warnings, multiple warnings. There's explicit content. So if this is not your cup of tea, you might want to get out. There is CA. There is multiple just abuse in general. So warnings going out everywhere, and you will see that there'll be multiple warnings. Most people remember their children as they were crawling and growing up, being born, and Brianna didn't get that. Brianna did not get that opportunity to do that. Um, Again, you may want to skip this video. This is one I'm going to discuss with you that is beyond belief, honestly. Here's warnings. Notice how many warnings I am putting up. This is Brianna Lopez. She was born on February 14th, 2002 in Las Cruces, New Mexico, to the mom Stephanie Lopez and father Andy Walters. Now, these inflictions that she had to go through were drawn out events. This was not one just incident. She was 5 months old, and on July 19th, 2002, around 10 o'clock in the morning, the new mother, Stephanie Lopez, called 911 from her mobile home, reporting that 5-month-old daughter was not breathing. Patricia Walters, the grandmother of Brianna, was also present that day during the 911 call. While on the phone with 911, Stephanie and Andrew's the father, performed CPR on the baby. Brianna's little body until emergency services arrived and took over. The emergency services rushed Brianna to the hospital, but unfortunately, they were unable to save her. Brianna Lopez was pronounced dead on July 19, 2002 at 11:10 a.m. Stephanie Renee Lopez told the physician in the ER that Brianna had fallen off of a bed around 3 a.m. Now I'm going to go through some pictures. This is her. This is the DA. I want you to remember, this is the bed that supposedly she fell off of and got all these bruises. Now, I'll tell you right now, I'm not showing not one picture of this child. Um, it's beyond horrific, beyond, I cannot stress enough. I did, of course, go and look at the autopsy pictures and look at all the pictures and everything. Um, I've never in my life ever seen a case that was like this. If you're interested in it, all you have to do is Google her name and you will see every bit of it. It's again, it's horrific. She was pronounced dead at 11:10 p.m. or a.m. Sorry. Stephanie Renee Lopez told the physician at the ER she had fallen off the bed around 3 a.m., but staff at the hospital quickly realized something was terribly wrong when they examined the many injuries presented on the baby's body. Amy Orlando, the DA, worked at the DA's office as a prosecutor for Donna Ana County. Amy stated that they got the call about Brianna. They use the word baby a lot. I call her Brianna. Had died at the hospital, and it was suspected that there was a case of CA and it was pretty much that the police officers had got to the hospital, and because the hospital called the police officers and the police officers called the DA's office. The law enforcement called the DA's office, the detective did. The hospital did not or does not call the DA's office. That's the job of the police department. The hospital notifies the police and just kind of goes on, about the process there. Again, another warning. This, I'm trying to tell you, this might be where you want to cut out of this video. Bite marks are not something that happen when a child falls off of a bed. A deeper investigation was conducted to see what exactly happened to Brianna. The details of Brianna's injuries go beyond the dark realm that most nightmares are capable of rendering or reaching. Again, please be warned, even for me, this was a part that was hard to hear. Let me tell you about, this was more than hard to hear. This was very hard to speak about. I debated on this case for a while. I actually had to get up and walk away from this case for at least 4 times. But it's the truth, and the depths of the tragic matter is not going to leave your mind anytime soon. The injuries. This is a picture of the ceiling, which will come and play. I'm not sure what that hole is, but it looks like a 5-month-old baby hole. This is the mother and father. And this is the little brother. He was 18 months old. This is Uncle Robert, Uncle Stephen, and the father. An autopsy of the 5-month-old Brianna Lopez uncovered the following shocking relations. Brianna died from cranial cerebral injuries, various bruises and abrasions all over her little body and her head. A blunt force injury was found in Brianna's skull, which happened in the past 3 days before her death, that resulted in a subdural hematoma. A subdural hematoma happens when blood vessels is smashed between the skull and the brain, aka the subdural space is damaged. Blood escapes from the blood vessels, leading to the formation of a blood clot or hematoma. Hematoma that places pressure on the brain and damage. Also, she had bleeding in the membranes around her brain and optical nerves. This is a strong indication that Brianna had been shaken by someone. It was a shock to learn that both of her private areas had physical damage and suffered no accidental damage. This was not an accident, this was intentional. And this was probably why she was still alive, very possible as she lay dying. There was at least 15 bite marks on Brianna, adult bite marks that'll come into play. Had 2 skull fractures that were 5 to 7 days old, as well as the membranes around her head showed both old and new blood, meaning that she had suffered a untreated previous brain injury. Sometime in the past, bucket handle fractures were present on the left and right thighs, as well as the top left arm of Brianna. This is a result whenever the limbs are being violently forced, twisted, and yanked on the child. The child also had 2 rib fractures on the right side of her chest that had occurred several weeks prior to her death. Brianna's death was quite obviously ruled a homicide based on the findings if you don't have a heart pounding out of your chest right now, either you're not human or you have dealt in this type of work for many years and had to listen to details such as these. Brianna was not even a half a year old when she succumbed to her torturous injuries that quite clearly had been repeatedly inflicted on her throughout her short, innocent life. The devil is in the details, and Brianna was treated like a play toy for these hellhounds. How humans could be so cruel. I cannot imagine what Brianna felt, never knowing trust, love, comfort, mercy, only pain, anguish, fear, and violence. Brianna lived in a constant hell. Brianna lived in a trailer owned by her grandmother with several people, her mom, dad, brother, grandmother, along with others, in one room a few weeks prior before her death. Excuse me. The grandmother lived in another room with her, I think, husband, Andrew's brother, Robert Walters. A total of 8 people were living in the home, and 5 of them lived in the living room, including the little stepbrother. Um, Brianna's um, Brianna's room alone is where everybody was living. During Stephanie, that's the mother's police interview, she claimed that that evening of July 18, 2002, the night before the death of her daughter, she had 2 to 3 beers at home before falling asleep around 10 o'clock. She was sleeping in the shared room with Brianna's father, who remained awake with his brother Robert Walters and Brianna's other uncle, Stephen Lopez, approximately 18-month-old Andrew Jr. Stephanie didn't mention anything else about these people at the time. According to Stephanie, the following morning, July 19th, she slept for 12 hours. She woke up about 9:45 to find that baby Brianna's bruised and pale and was unresponsive. After notifying Father Andrew and Grandmother Patricia, they made the 911 call, and she asked Andrew what happened. He replied that Stephen may have thrown her up into the air. And, my response would have been, "What the hell do you mean?" But anyway, they were tossing little Brianna back and forth like a football. They were actually tossing her about 6 times the length of her little body. She hit the ceiling 3 times. The father had said when the interview that he had not done that recently because Stephanie was getting mad about it. Like I said, she hit the ceiling 3 times. She believes some of the older bruises on Brianna were the result that she had said that the new injuries, abrasions found on her daughter weren't present the night before the child had died. In an attempt to explain the bite marks, she said Brianna claimed that the 18-month-old had bit his sister. These were adult bite marks. Um, the night before his daughter was killed, Andrew's daughter was killed, he said that he got off work around 5 p.m. and he was home by 6. Around 8, he picked up Stephen and purchased a case of beer, and the two went to spend the rest of the night in the trailer shared room with Stephanie, Andrew, Brianna, and potential others. Andrew claimed she fell asleep around midnight and 1 o'clock before waking to check on Brianna. Andrew said that he fell asleep about 1 a.m. before waking to check on Brianna at 3 a.m. According to him, at the time, she was fine and he went back to sleep, and he got up at 7 and he played with her a little bit, put a blanket and changed her diaper, and he drifted off back to sleep, and then he woke up about 10 o'clock that morning. And baby Brianna was in a bad way. In a part of the interview, Andrew admitted that Brianna had fallen off the bed after claiming Andrew Jr. was one who left the bite marks on his daughter, and finally admitted the truth that he was the one that left the bite marks on his daughter. There was uh, the mom, when she would get upset with the daughter, she would pinch her on the ear, and the daughter had blood coming out of her ears, healed and otherwise. But he didn't mean to. Hold on, sorry. Police finally informed Andrew that his daughter was dead. He admitted that he caused Brianna's bruises, that stated that he didn't mean to. Um, in his own words, I didn't mean to leave bruises like that. I've left bruises like that before, messing around with her. And Stephanie's got mad after the beans were spilled, painting an awful picture of what happened on that evening of July 18th, 2002. Apologize. Um, the night before, and no, it's not from smoking. It's actually from a CPAP machine that's got water in it, and I think it's giving me pneumonia. But Brianna was pronounced dead, and the confessed that he and the uncle had been playing a little bit too rough with Brianna the night before, tossing her around, and she would hit the ceiling. 5 months old. If you only knew the anger, people out there wanting children, and these idiots have a child that they are being abused, and they were only abusing her supposedly and not the 18-month old. This is the grandmother. This is the rib fractures. And here they are. Here's the crew. Said that they wouldn't even catch her whenever she would hit the ceiling, that they would just let her drop to the floor. They were playing football with her. And whenever they got to the ER, is when the ER called the police. And get down to this, because this one here, or the child, 5 months old, that's what led to her death. Her little body couldn't take it anymore. This one here, no, this isn't Andrew. Andrew, the father, this is a warning, warning, warning. Took wet wipes, put it on his finger, and inserted it up to his knuckle to clean out any semen. That's why they said there wouldn't be any. Trying to get down to, he got 57 years. He got about the same, and she got 27 years. She got out on parole for good behavior in 2016. She is now a free woman. This one right here, getting ready to be out in 2025. There is a petition that you can sign to keep him in prison. I'm just going to leave this here and let you read some of it, because I'm too disgusted to read some of it. There's the beer they got. There must have been something on the floor because the cops are taking the floor. And this is blood. This was her boyfriend, husband, whatever he was. He was charged with something. That's the dad, the little pathetic dad. That's the mom. Said that she got a good welcome party though whenever she came in. And then she convinced all the inmates that she was innocent and this was blamed on drugs. And this is her the day she got out of prison. So they finally got this part of it put up. They had to fight to do that. Um, they tried to hide where this young one was buried, the family did. So the community, pissed off as hell, as anyone would be, found it and bought her a headstone. So they put a gate up. They actually usually keep the gate locked, and that's so that nobody can leave anything for the child there. This is the gate, but you can see where people have cut it. They don't give a damn. They've cut the lock, they cut everything. This is Stephanie Lopez. There's so much that I want to say right here, but terms of service will not allow it. But look at that face right there. She lives in Texas. So if you live in Texas, know that this lady lives in your community. And Brianna's law was passed in 2005. The mother had got off on like not a technicality, but a week law to where for every day she does good, then she gets a day off. So she done 13 years. I want to thank y'all for watching. I left out a lot of stuff that was worse than this. And please subscribe, like, share, comment, rebuttal. Um, this was a tough case. This case pissed me off. And I appreciate you watching. And we do have a few more children's cases coming up, so be prepared for that. If that's not something you're interested in, then maybe I can catch you on another video. I try to switch it up because the kids' cases affect people, especially me, really, really hard. And I appreciate you watching. And as always, I will see you later. Bye bye.